Hi everybody, this is your Yoganandam Biology lecturer from Edall Academy YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to discuss one of the biology full syllabus test paper. Already we have discussed there are 21 papers in order. This is a 22nd paper. Even from this paper, we are going to discuss 90 questions with detailed solutions. This video is prepared, especially the students those who are preparing for NEET 2023 examination for them. Let us discuss the question and answer with detailed solutions one by one.
Question number 1. Arrange these hominids in ascending order of their cranial capacities. The first hominid was called Homo habilis and his cranial capacity was between 650 and 800 cc. Homo erectus, whose fossils were discovered in Java, had a large brain with a cranial capacity of around 900 cc. The Neanderthal man had a cranial capacity of 1400 cc and lived near East and Central Asia. So the answer for this question is option B. Homo habilis, Java man and Neanderthal man. So the correct option is B. Question number 2. RBC and plant cell are placed in distilled water. The solute concentration is the same in both the cells. What change would be observed in them? When RBC and a plant cell are placed in distilled water, endosmosis takes place, as a result of which RBC would increase in size and burst while the plant cell would remain about the same size because of the presence of rigid cell wall. So the answer for this question is option B. The RBC would increase in size and burst while the plant cell would remain about the same size. Question number 3. Given below is a diagram showing different parts of an eye. Some parts are labeled as A, B, C and D. Read the following statement about the parts and choose the correct one. A represents retina, B represents lens, C represents cornea, D represents sclera. The light rays in visible wavelength focused on the retina through the cornea, and lens generates potential, that is generally called as impulses, in the photoreceptor cells, rods and cones. The lens is held in place by ligaments attached to the ciliary body. The space between lens and cornea is followed with the watery fluid called aqueous humor. The external layer is called sclera, which is made up of dense connective tissue. So the answer for this question is option C. Light rays of visible wavelengths focus on A through B and C and generate impulses in the photoreceptor cells of the eye. So the correct option is C. Question number 4. Modified polysaccharides acting as a ground substance is found in all connective tissue except blood. The cells secrete fibers of structural proteins called collagen or elastin. The fibers provide strength, elasticity and flexibility to the tissues. These cells also secrete modified polysaccharides which accumulates between cells and fibers and act as matrix ground substance. So the answer for this question is option B, connective tissue. Question number 5. In the context of amniocentesis, which of the following statement is incorrect? Statutory ban on amniocentesis for sex determination to legally check the increasing menace of female feticides, massive child immunization, etc. In amniocentesis, some of the amniotic fluid of the developing fetus is takes to analyze the fetal cells and dissolved substances. This procedure is used for tests for presence of certain genetic disorders such as Down syndrome, hemophilia, sickle cell anemia, etc. Determine the survivability of the fetus. Sometimes cleft lip or palate can occur separately without other components of a syndrome, especially due to folate deficiency and also increased maternal age. TIFA scan, which is usually done around the 20th week of gestation, can detect cleft lip and palate with good accuracy. So the answer for this question is option D. It can be used for detection of cleft palate. So this is the wrong statement. Question number 6. The plant rose is placed under two taxa, Rosales and Rosaceae. Which of the following is correct about these? While naming the taxa in plant classification, certain suffixes are used as follows: division Paita, subdivision Paitina, class Opsida, Pisceae or AE, order Ales, suborder INEA, family ACA, subfamily ODA, tribe EA, subtribe INA. So the answer for this question is option A. Row cells is order and row CC is family. Question number 7. A patient come to a doctor clinic situated on the 6th floor by walking up the staircase. As soon as he reaches the clinic, the nurse records his blood pressure as 148/92 mmHg. Which of these statements is surely correct? Hypertension is a disease of sustained high blood pressure. The patient has to rest for some time and the blood pressure should be measured again. The patient will have hypertension if the blood pressure is high even after adequate rest. So the answer for this question is option C. The patient has high blood pressure but may or may not have hypertension. Question number 8. Statement 1. pH of blood represent P. Statement 2. Blood forms the percentage of total body weight. Third statement. Proteins form the percentage of plasma. Fourth statement. The thickness of RBC in micrometer. The correct arrangement of the above value is pH of blood is 7.4. Blood forms 8% of body weight. Proteins form 7% of plasma. Thickness of RBC is 2.5 micron. So the correct sequence is option A. Number 9. Epipetalous and epipillous condition are respectively seen in. The aneurysm consists of stamens. These stamens can be attached to petals. This condition is known as an epipetalous condition. Such a condition is seen in brinjal. Epipillous, when stamens are attached to the perianth as in flowers of lily. So the answer for this question is option C. Epipetalous seen in brinjal, epipillous seen in lily. So the correct option is C. Question number 10. A person was advised to do urine test and a blood test for glucose. Glucose was detected in his urine. He was not taking any medications. Which of the following values will correspond to the amount of glucose in the blood of a person? The renal threshold of glucose is 160 to 180 milligram per 100 ml blood. If the blood values of glucose are below this level, the kidney will absorb all the glucose from the filtrate. If it rises beyond this value, glucose appears in urine. So the answer for this question is option A. 200 mg of glucose per 100 ml of blood. Question number 11. How many of the following are the members of the family Fabaceae? Here some plant species names are given. Fabaceae is a family of dicot plants, mostly legumes. The members of these families have distinct shows vexillary aestivation in the petals arrangement. Some important members of the family are pea, soybean, sesbania, lupin, gram, arihar, arhar, mung, indigofera. The other examples like belladonna, potato and tobacco belong to the family Solanaceae. So the answer for this question is option B. From the given plant species, around 6 species belongs to the family Fabaceae. Question number 12. Which of these is true about the type of parthenogenesis? Parthenogenesis is the process of the formation of an organism from the egg without fertilization. In the Laitoki, only the females are produced by parthenogenesis. Example, whiptail lizards. In Orchinotoki, only males are produced by parthenogenesis. Example, male honeybee. This service called as drone bees. So the answer for this question is option A. In Harnotoki, only males are produced by parthenogenesis, while Tylotoki, only females are produced by parthenogenesis. So the correct option is A. Question number 13. The condition with the united calyx in a flower is called as. The calyx is the outermost wall of the flower. It is made up of units called sepals. These sepals can be united or that can be free from each other. The gamosepalous condition shows that the sepals are united. The polysepalous condition shows that the sepals are free from each other. So the answer for this question is option A. Gamosepalous. Question number 14. Vidal test is used for the detection of typhoid in humans, also known as enteric fever. It is caused by rod-shaped bacteria known as Salmonella typhi. So the answer for this question is option B. This is caused by rod-shaped bacterium called Salmonella typhi. Question number 15. The type of embryo sac discovered by Strasburger in Polygonum plant. The 7-celled 8-nucleated types of embryo sac are known as Polygonum type because of it is discovered by Strasburger in Polygonum plant. Polygonum type of embryo sac is the most common type in angiosperms. It develops from single megaspore, so it is also known as monosporic embryo sac. So the answer for this question is option D. 8 nucleated structure and it is monosporic. Question number 16. During human pregnancy, when is the first movement of fetus observed? In human pregnancy, the first movement of the fetus is usually observed around the 5th month. Example, around 20 weeks of gestation. The appearance of hair on the head is also observed during this period. So the answer for this question is option C, at week of gestation period. Question number 17. In angiosperm, dash nuclei participate in fertilization. In angiosperm show double fertilization. In syngamy, there is a fusion of one male and one female gamete having one nucleus each. In triple fusion, there is a fusion of one male gamete having one nucleus and two polar nuclei. Thus 5 nuclei. That means two polar nuclei, one egg nuclei, two male gametes participate in double fertilization. So the answer for this question is option C. Totally there are 5 nuclei participate in fertilization. Question number 18. Identify the correct match between the types of stem modification and their examples. Stem tendril is a structural modification of stem for mechanical support. Example, strawberry, cucumber. Fleshy stem known as the pyroclade is the modification of plants like opuntia in desert regions in order to conserve water and perform photosynthesis. Woody thorns are seen in plants like citrus for protection for herbivores. Horizontal stems are seen in plants like strawberry which help them propagate vegetatively. So the answer for this question is option D, stem tendril. Question number 19. Meiotic division required for forming 100 zygote or 100 grains of wheat is. The zygote is formed by the fusion of haploid male and female gametes. Thus, to determine the number of total meiotic division to produce 100 zygotes, the total number of meiotic division in males and females should be considered. In males, one meiotic division forms 4 male gametes. Thus, 25 meiotic division give 100 male gametes. In females, one meiotic division form 1 egg cell, as the remaining 3 degenerates to provide nutrition to the developing egg cells. Thus, 100 meiotic division gives 100 egg cells. Hence, the total number of meiotic division needed to form 100 zygote is equal to 25 meiotic division in males plus 100 meiotic division in females. So, totally 125. The answer for this question is option B, 125. Question number 20. Among the statement given below, which statement is correct regarding the relationship between enzymes and a substrate? Is a factor that plays a role in enzyme activity. More the substrate concentration, more is the enzyme activity till it reaches saturation, where even on increasing substrate will not increase the activity. Statement 1 agrees to it, but statement 4 is incomplete. Statement 3 is stating the presence of non-competitive inhibitor which binds to a separate site on enzyme than the substrate and alters the active site of the enzyme. Thus, even if substrate concentration is increased, it will not lead to any change. Lastly, about competitive inhibitor as a competition with the substrate for the same position of the active site. If substrate concentration is higher than, it will replace competitive inhibitor for the active site and its effect on enzyme activity. So the answer for this question is option C. From the given 4 statement, the correct statement is first statement alone. The remaining 3 state, the known as brevus yeast is Saccharomyces cerevisiae is commonly known as brevus yeast. It is used for bread making. It is also used for the production of beverages like whiskey, wine, brandy, and rum. It is used for fermenting fruit juices and malted cereals for making ethanol. So the answer for this question is option B, an eukaryotic fungi called as Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Question number 22. A human male is heterozygous for autosomal gene capital A and capital B present on two different chromosomes and also has hemophilic gene small h. What proportion of the sperm will have small a, small b, small h genes? Hemophilic gene small h is present on X chromosome. The probability of his sperms having X chromosome or small h gene is 1 by 2. He is heterozygous capital A small a. The probability of his sperms having 1 by 2, that is small a. Similarly, the probability of his sperm having small b is 1 by 2. Thus, the probability of his sperm having small a, small b and small h gene is 1 by 2 into 1 by 2 into 1 by 2. It is equal to 1 by 8. So, the answer for this question is option C, 1 by 8. Question number 23. The genetic material of tobacco mosaic virus is. The tobacco mosaic virus has a genome of single-stranded RNA. These viruses infect large group of plants, especially tobacco plant and also many other members of family Solanaceae. This disease causes patches of discoloration and mosaic pattern on leaves as a symptom. So the answer for this question is option C, single-stranded RNA. Question number 24. Complete the by selecting the correct options for the blanks A, B and C from the options given below. Mycorrhiza is the symbiotic association formed by the fungi with the roots of higher plants. Many members from the genus of Glomus form this association. The fungal symbiont in this association is responsible for absorbing phosphorus from the soil and passing it to the plant. Some plants have an obligate association with the mycorrhizae. For example, pinus seeds cannot germinate and establish without the presence of mycorrhizae. So the answer for this question is option C. A represent mycorrhizae, B represent glomus, C represent phosphorus, D represent pinus. So in the 5, which of these option is categorized as a lectin? Lectins are proteins which bind to carbohydrates. Heparin is a toxin obtained from Abrus precotorius and ricin is a toxin obtained from castor oil plant Ricinus communis. Is a lectin extracted from the jack bean, ensiformis. So the answer for this question is option C. Question number 26. Which of these is the correct evolutionary line of the mammals? A common ancestor which is now extinct reptile gave rise to two groups. Sauropsids which evolved to form many ancestors and synapsids which give rise to theropsids. They were ancestors of modern day mammals. So the answer for this question is option C. Synapsids, theropsids, mammals. Question number 27. The correct sequence of first 6 amino acid in HbA beta globin. The correct sequence of first 6 amino acid in HbA beta globin peptide is. HbA is adult hemoglobin. The first 6 peptides on its beta globin chain are valine, histidine, leucine, threonine, proline, glutamic acid. In sickle cell anemia, HbS is formed. It has valine instead of glutamic acid in the 6th position. So the answer for this question is option A. The correct sequence of the first 6 amino acids in HbA beta globin peptide is valine, histidine, leucine, threonine, proline, glutamic acid. Question number 28. Identify the blank A and B. During MOET procedure done in a cow, the fertilized egg at dash cell stage are recovered dash and transferred to surrogate mother. In multiple ovulation embryo transfer technology, it is generally called as MOET. A cow is injected with follicle stimulating hormone so that they can produce 6 to 8 eggs. Then the cow is either mated with an elite bull or artificially inseminated. The fertilized egg at 8 to 32 cell stages are recovered non-surgically and transferred to the surrogate mother. So the answer for this question is option D. A represent 8 to 32 cells and the B represent non-surgically. So the correct option is D. Question number 29. NADP reductase enzyme is present. The NADP reductase enzyme is located on the stromal side of the membrane along with electrons that come from the acceptor of electrons of PS1. Protons are necessary for the reduction of NADP to NADPH2. These protons are also removed from the stroma. So the answer for this question is option C. NADP reductase enzyme is present on the stroma side of the thylakoid membrane. Question number 30. Which of these statements about mycoplasma are true? Mycoplasma is the smallest cell known. They are prokaryotic cell that lack cell walls. They can cause variety of diseases and hence are potent pathogens for causing respiratory tract illness. So the answer for this question is option B. From the given 4 statements, first and fourth statement alone true. Question number 31. The amount of nutrients such as carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus, calcium, etc. present in the soil at any given time is referred to as. The amount of nutrients such as carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus, calcium, etc. present in the soil at any given time is referred to as the standing state. It varies in different kinds of ecosystems and also on seasonal basis. So the answer for this question is option A, standing state. Question number 32. Which of the following is correct about humus? Humus is a dark organic material that forms in soil when plant and animal matter decays. The amorphous material helps retain water and nutrients. So the answer for this question is option D. Humus is a dark brown colored amorphous organic material. So the correct option is D. Question number 33. Observe the below diagram. Identify the options suggesting the correct functions of A, B and C. From the given diagram is of female thallus of Morgantia. A represent archegoniophore, female branch containing female sex organ for production of female gamete and receiving the male gamete for sexual reproduction. B represent gemma cups or structure which contain vegetative cells in them. These cells helps the liverwort reproduce by vegetative propagation by fragmentation. C represents rhizoids or root-like unicellular structures in liverworts which help in attachment to the substratum and at the time help to absorb water and minerals. So the answer for this question is option C. The answer for this question is option C. Gametophyte for sexual reproduction. B. Help in the formation of vegetative cells and can regenerate into new individual by fragmentation. C. Helps in attachment to the substratum. 4. If we accept estimates, only days of the total species have been recorded so far. Robert May gave a conservative and scientifically correct estimate of global species diversity. According to him, there are about 7 million species out. 22% have been recorded so far. So the answer for this question is option B, 22%. Question number 35. The evil quartet represents the causes of biodiversity losses, habit loss, it is generally called fragmentation, over exploitation of natural resources, invasion by alien species, coexistence. These are the collectively called the evil quartet. So the answer for this question is option A. There are 4 major causes of biodiversity losses. Question number 36. Treated using insulin from genetic engineering. Where is the insulin produced? Human insulin can be produced via genetic engineering by transferring the gene into a bacterial plasmid and getting it expressed. The insulin in the bacteria is produced within the bacterial cytoplasm. So the answer for this question is option A, bacterial cytoplasm. Question number 37. In an electrostatic precipitator has electrodes. They produce a corona that releases negatively charged electrons which combine with dust particles to give them a negative charge. Grounded collecting plates collect these negatively charged dust particles if the air velocity is low, allowing the dust to fall. So the answer for this question is option C. Collecting plates are grounded and collect negatively charged dust particles. Question number 38. A Mendel's law which does not have an exception is: co-dominance and incomplete dominance are exceptions to the law of dominance. Linkage is the exception to the law of independent assortment. Law of segregation has no exceptions, which states that in a hybrid, the members of an allelic pair stay together without mixing and separate or segregate independently during gamete formation. So the answer for this question is option B, law of segregation. Question number 39. Ichthyosaurs were large reptiles that were aquatic. They lived in the era of dinosaurs. The Mesozoic era, they were fish-like reptiles which evolved around 200 million years ago. They are extinct and no known species exist. Ichthyo means fish and saurus means large reptiles. So the answer for this question is option B, large marine reptiles which are extinct. Question number 40. Match the tissue or cell with its correct feature or function. Exocrine gland is formed of secretory epithelium whose secretions are released in duct rather than directly mixed up bloodstream. Endocrine is again formed of secretory epithelium and are called hormones are directly released into the blood, that is fluid connective tissue. Goblet cells are unicellular modified secretory epithelium commonly found in digestive glands. Gap junctions are a type of link found in animal tissues which help in cell to cell communication, that is rapid transferation ions. So the answer for this question is option C, A, endocrine gland. It is matching with fourth one, secrete mucus, saliva, digestive enzymes and other cell products. B, endocrine gland. It is matching with second option. Chemical messenger are secreted directly into the fluid connective tissue. C, gap junction. It is matching with first one. Facilitate communication by connecting the cytoplasm of adjoining cells. Goblet cells. It is matching with third one, either cuboidal or columnar epithelium adapted for secretory function. So the correct option is C. Question number 41. Read the following statements. From the given four statements, identify the statements that are incorrect regarding plant cell. Plant cell has cell wall that is primarily made up of cellulose but does not have peptidoglycan. Rather, peptidoglycan is found in the cell wall of prokaryotes like bacteria. Plasmodesmata is the feature in plant cells enabling connecting between cells and supporting transport of centrioles are the characteristics of animal cells useful in the process of cell division. A plant cell has 80S ribosome, a feature of eukaryotic cell. Plastids are an organelle found only in plant cells, of which those that store carbohydrates are known as amyloplasts. So the answer for this question is option A. From the given four statements, first and second statements are incorrect regarding plant cell. Question number 42. From the following, the state to determine the specificity of an enzyme is: the enzyme is generally made up of proteins and proteins are made up of amino acids. The amino acids have or as functional group whose variation result in the formation of different amino acids. Due to OR group, the bonding of polypeptide chain in enzyme will differ, resulting in the formation of various folds and bonds in its tertiary structure, enabling the making of substrate. which is highly specific. So the answer for this question is option C. From the given statements, the statement 1 alone will help to determine the specificity of an enzyme. Question number 43. From the following, the correct appearance of chromosome at the beginning of prophase of mitosis and the number of DNA strands in the chromosome is. In mitosis, before entering the divisional phase, cell has undergone the S phase where the DNA duplication occurs, resulting in the formation and appearance of chromosome, where each chromosome has sister chromatids joined and each chromatid has 2 DNA. So in total 4 DNA in the chromosome during prophase of mitosis. So the answer for this question is option B. Appearance of 1 chromosome, number of strands 4. Question number 44. An electron microscope of a plant cell shows 2 different types of plastids. One of them is known to store oils and fats in them. Such plastid is known as. Based on the type of pigments, plastids can be classified into chloroplast, chromoplast and leucoplast. The leucoplasts are the colorless plastids of various shapes and size with stored nutrients. Amyloplasts store carbohydrates, example starch, example potato. Helioplasts store oils and fats, whereas the aleuroplasts store proteins. So the answer for this question is option C. Helioplast store oils and fat. Question number 45. Which feature of bacteria makes them especially useful in biotechnology? Bacteria act as useful tool in biotechnology because of the following reasons. The genetic being universal, basic structure of genetic material is same. They are simple organisms and easy to manipulate. Additionally, they multiply at a rapid rate. So the answer for this question is option D. They reproduce rapidly. Question number 46. What is the net gain of ATP in glycolysis? Glycolysis produces 4 ATP as a gross gain as a compensation for the used ATP. 2 ATP are consumed in the preparatory phase of glycolysis. 1 ATP is used in the conversion of glucose to glucose 6-phosphate and other ATP is used during the conversion of fructose 6-phosphate to fructose 1,6 biphosphate. Hence the actual ATP gain from the reaction is 2 ATP. So from the glycolysis the net gain is 2 ATP molecules. So the correct option is C. Question number 47. A foreign gene is inserted in PBR322 using the restriction endonuclease ECORI. Which of these is true about the E. coli having this PBR322? The restriction site for ECORI in the PBR322 is not present within the ampicillin resistant gene or within the tetracycline resistant gene. Thus, when the foreign DNA is added, there will not be insertional activation of any of these genes and the bacterium will be resistant to both antibiotic. So the answer for this question is option A. It will be resistant to both antibiotic ampicillin as well as antibiotic tetracycline. Question number 48. Glowworms are organisms which give off light. Which process could use these two species to make corn plant which glow? Corn bees, a plant, and glowworm being of animal origin. Breeding process is not applicable. Genetic engineering process can be applied where the desired gene is transferred into the organism via different methods of biotechnology. So the answer for this question is option D. Transferring genes from one species to another species. Question number 49. Epiphytes growing on trees is an example of. Commensalism is the interaction in which one species benefits and the other is neither harmed nor benefited. When a epiphyte grows on trees, it gets exposure to sunlight and support, but the tree is neither benefited nor harmed. So the answer for this question is option B. Commensalism. Question number 50. Read the following statements about phylum Annelida. Identify the true and false statements and select the correct option after referring to the given table. Annelids are triploblastic, metamerically segmented and coelomate animals. Their neural system consists of paired ganglia connected by lateral nerves to a double ventral nerve cord. They possess longitudinal and circular muscle fiber which help in locomotion. Nepridia help them in osmoregulation and excretion. So the answer for this question is statement. Statement A is false, B also false, C is true, D is true. So out of 4 statements, first 2 statements are false, the next 2 statements are correct. Question number 51. Through photosynthesis, the lungs of Earth is estimated to produce dash of total oxygen in the Earth's atmosphere. Amazon rainforest produces approximately 20% of oxygen in Earth's atmosphere, which is about 1/5 of the total oxygen. So the answer for this question is option C, 1/5. Question number 52. The correct statement about ptyalin and pancreatic amylase is: ptyalin, salivary amylase produced by parotid glands, breaks down only cooked starch at pH level 6.8, whereas amylopsin, pancreatic amylase, breaks down cooked as well as uncooked starch at pH level 7.8. So the answer for this question is option D. Ptyalin breaks down only cooked starch in acidic medium, while pancreatic amylase breaks down cooked as well as uncooked starch in alkaline medium. Question number 53. Which of the following statement regarding the structure of contractile proteins are correct? 3 types of protein: troponin, troponin T, troponin I, and troponin C are distributed at regular intervals on the tropomyosin. The globular head of the meromyosin is an active ATPase enzyme. It has binding sites for ATP and active site for actin. Due to its ATPase activity, myosin, which is a contractile structural protein, also has enzymatic action. So the answer for this question is option D. From the given 4 statements regarding the structure of contractile protein is first and 4th statement alone correct. Question number between the atlas and axis is an example of the joint between atlas. It is the first cervical vertebrae and axis is the second cervical vertebrae as a synovial joint. It is a type of pivot joint. The odontoid process of axis act as pivot on which atlas can rotate. This type of joint allows considerable amount of movement. A fluid-filled synovial cavity is present between the articulating surfaces of 2 bones. So the answer for this question is option A, pivot joint. Question number 55. Which of the following statements regarding impulse transmission is incorrect? Chemicals called neurotransmitters are involved in the transmission of impulse across the synapses. The membranes of the presynaptic and postsynaptic neurons are separated by a fluid-filled space called synaptic cleft. The released neurotransmitters bind to the specific receptors present on the postsynaptic membrane. The new potential which develops may be excitatory or inhibitory. So the answer for this question is option D. From the given 4 statements, 3 statements are incorrect about the impulse transmission. Question number 56. Most of the cranial nerves in humans, there are 12 pairs of cranial nerves. There are 3 pairs of sensory cranial nerves, first, second, and seventh. There are 5 pairs of motor cranial nerves. There are third, fourth, sixth, ninth, and 12th. There are 4 pairs of mixed cranial nerves such as 5th, 7th, 10th, and 9th. So the answer for this question is option A, motor. Question number 57. A tumor inducing circular extrachromosomal DNA widely used in development of transgenic plant is that of TA plasmid of Agrobacterium. Agrobacterium is a natural gene transfer tool used by the bacteria to induce tumor into the host plant. The TA plasmid is used as a vector to transfer the gene of interest into the plant and develop transgenic plant. So the answer for this question is option D, Agrobacterium tumefaciens. Question number 58. Which of the following organism is known to be a jawless vertebrate? Petromyzon is commonly called as lamprey, belong to the class Cyclostomata of phylum Chordata. Scoliodon is commonly called as dogfish. Prestes is commonly called as starfish, and Trigon is commonly called as stingray, belong to the class Conrictus of phylum Chordata. So the answer for this question is option A, Petromyzon. Question number 59. Mucus secreted by the goblet cells combined with bicarbonate maintains the alkaline medium of the intestine. The sources of bicarbonate is the intestinal mucosal epithelium has goblet cells which secrete mucus. The secretions of brush border cells of the mucosa along with the secretions of the goblet cells constitute the intestinal juice or succus entericus. This juice contains a variety of enzymes like disaccharides, example maltase, dipeptidase, lipases, nucleosidases, etc. The mucus along with the bicarbonates formed in the pancreas protects the intestinal mucosa from acid as well as provide an alkaline medium, the pH range of 7.8 for enzyme activities. The answer for this question is option C, pancreas. Question number 60. Which of the following is incorrect about cancer? Cells sloughed from tumors reach distant sites through blood, and wherever they get lodged in the body, they start a new tumor there. This property called metastasis is feared property of malignant tumors. Several genes called cellular oncogenes, generally called as CONC or proto-oncogenes, are found in normal cells, which when activated under certain conditions could lead to oncogenic transformation of the cells. The patients are given substances called biological responses modifiers such as alpha interferons, which activates their immune system and helps destroying the tumor. So the answer for this question is option D. So from the given statements, none of the statement is incorrect about cancer. Question number 61. Following statements regarding fertilization and implantation is incorrect. During fertilization, the sperm first comes in contact with the zona pellucida layer of the ovum. Certain enzymes are released by the acrosome of the sperm. These enzymes cause certain changes in the zona pellucida layer. Thus, the entry of further sperms is prevented. So, the answer for this question is option B. During fertilization, the sperm comes in contact with the corona radiata cells of the ovum first and start degrading it. So, the correct option is B. Question number 62. In flowering plants, hostorial cell is zygote of an angiospermic embryo divides first to form two cells. One towards the micropyle is called basal cell, and the other towards the salazar end is called embryonal cell. The basal cell divides by transverse divisions to form 6 to 10 celled long filament like structure called suspensor. The main function of suspensor is to push the developing embryo into food-laden endosperm to provide nutrition. The micropylar cell of the suspensor swells up and is known as ostoreal cell. So the answer for this question is option A. The cell of suspensor present at the micropylar end and formed during embryogenesis. Question number 63. Which of the following is a non-steroidal oral contraceptive? Soheli or ormelphin or Sencroman is a selective estrogen receptor modulator. It is a once a week pill with very few side effects and high contraceptive value. It was developed by scientists at Central Drug Research Institute CDRI in Lucknow, India. So the answer for this question is option D, Soheli. Question number 64. Pollination in Vallisneria is Entomopily is pollination by insects. Mymercopily is a pollination by ants. The pollination which takes place on the surface of water is called epihydropily. The pollination which takes place inside the water is called hypohydropily. In Vallisneria, the female flower reaches the surface of the water by the long stalk and the male flower or pollen grain are released onto the surface of the water. Thus, it shows epihydropily. So, the answer for this question is option B, epihydropily. Question number 65. Match the endocrine gland given in the column 1 with the respective hormones in column 2 and the functions performed by those hormones in the column 3 and select the correct option from the quotes given below. First one, neurohypophysis. It is located on posterior pituitary, secretes the hormone vasopressin, also known as antidiuretic hormone. It is otherwise called as ADH hormone. This hormone is responsible for reabsorption of water from the renal tubules and hence prevents excessive urination. Second one, adrenal cortex is responsible for secretion of hormone called cortisol, which is a major glucocorticoid. It is responsible for anti-inflammatory reaction and suppression of immune response. Third one, thyroid gland secretes the hormone thyrocalcitonin. It is service called as TCT. It is prevents resorption of calcium from the bones. It is a hypocalcemic hormone. Fourth one, parathyroid gland secretes parathyroid hormone. It is service called as PTH. It is responsible for reabsorption of calcium from the bones and also prevents urinary excretion of calcium. Hence, it is hypercalcemic hormone. So, the correctly matching option is option B. One is matching with C and B. Second is matching with A, D. Third is matching with D and A. Fourth is matching with B and C. So the correct option is B. Question number 66. The X aggregated response of immune system in which immunoglobulin E type of antibody is produced is called. The X aggregated response of the immune system to certain antigens present in the environment is called allergy. The substance to which such an immune response is produced is called allergen. Example, pollen, animal dander, etc. The IgE type of antibody present in this type of response. So the answer for this question is option A, allergy. Question number 67. The steps involved in spermatogenesis are given below. Arrange them in proper sequence and select the correct option. The process of spermatogenesis is as follows. First process, spermatogonia present in seminiferous tubules multiply by mitotic division and increase in numbers. Second process, few spermatogonia called primary spermatocytes undergo meiotic division to form two equal secondary spermatocytes. Third process, secondary spermatocytes undergoes meiotic division to form four haploid spermatids. Fourth process, spermatids are transformed into sperms by the process of spermiogenesis. Fifth process, sperms are released from the seminiferous tubule by the process of spermiation. So the correct sequence is option C. Question number 68. In Drosophila melanogaster, the genes for eye color as well as body color is located on X chromosomes. Red eye color in dominant, whereas white eye color is recessive. Brown body color is dominant, whereas yellow body color is recessive. These two genes were used by Morgan to study linkage. So the answer for this question is option D. Red eye color is dominant over white eye color and its gene is located on the X chromosome. Question number 69. A woman whose mother was colorblind and the father was hemophilic marries a colorblind hemophilic man. What is true about their daughters? The genotype of woman is X power C, X power H. The genotype of man X power CH and Y. Genotype of daughters X power C, X power CH, colorblind and hemophilic carrier, and X power H and X power CH, hemophilic and colorblind carrier. The genotype of sons X power C, Y, colorblind and X power H, Y, hemophilic. So the answer for this question is option C. They may have daughters who are colorblind or hemophilic. Question number 70. The heterocyst present in cyanobacteria size of cyanobacterium are size of nitrogen fixation. These specialized cells are larger as compared to cells and are distinctly visible under microscope. So the answer for this question is option B, nitrogen fixation. Question number 71. The available biomass for consumption to herbivores and decompose. Question number 71. The available for the consumption to herbivores and decomposers in an ecosystem is gross primary productivity of an ecosystem is the rate of production of organic matter during photosynthesis. A considerable amount of gross primary productivity is utilized by plants in respiration. Gross primary productivity minus respiration losses is net primary productivity. It is the available biomass for the consumption of heterotrophs, that is herbivores and decomposers. So the answer for this question is option B, net primary productivity. Question number 72. The chrysophytes are also known as dash. Most of the members of this group are dash. The diatoms have a soapbox like an arrangement of dash in which there is deposition of dash. Chrysophytes are aquatic algae found both in marine and fresh waters. These include golden algae and diatoms. Most of them are most of the members of this group are photosynthetic. The diatoms have soap box like arrangements of two layers of cell wall which fit into each other. Their cell wall have deposits of silica which make them extremely rigid. These diatoms have cell wall depositions in their habitats called the diatomaceous earth. So the correct option is D. Question number 73. In a plant, tallness is dominant over dwarfness and red flowers are incompletely dominant over white flowers. The hybrid being pink. How many offsprings will be of tall height with pink flowers from a cross involved two plants each of which is hybrid tall and has pink flowers? Hybrid tall, capital T small t, pink flowers, capital R small r. Hence the cross is between capital T small t, capital R small r and capital T small t, capital R small r. Among the offsprings, only the genotypes capital T, capital R small r and capital T small t, capital R small r are tall and have pink flowers. The proportion of capital T, capital R small r is 2 by 16, whereas the proportion of capital T, capital R small r is 4 by 16, which amounts to a total of 6 by 16. So the answer for this question is option B, 6 by 16. Question number 74. Which of the following belong to Rhodophyta? Polycyponia is a species of red algae. Sphagnum includes members known as peat moss. Polytrichum is a genus of mosses which contain members commonly known as hair mosses. Funaria mosses belong to the family Funariaceae. So the answer for this question is option A. Polycyponia belong to Rhodophyta. Number 75. The most important ecologically relevant environmental factor is the average temperature on land varies seasonally, decreases progressively from the equator towards the poles and from plains to the mountain tops. It ranges from sub-zero level in polar areas and high altitudes to is less than 50 degrees Celsius in tropical desert in summer. These variations produce distinct biomes. So the answer for this question is option A, temperature. 6. A student is about to appear for an examination in the next half an hour. He is extremely anxious. His face is flushed and his heartbeat has increased. Which of the following could be a probable reason for this? The adrenal medulla is responsible for secretion of hormones adrenaline and noradrenaline, collectively known as catecholamines. These hormones are also called as hormones of fight or flight or emergency hormones. They are responsible for increase in heartbeat, respiratory rate, etc. in times of emergency situations, the response to stress. So the answer for this question is option D, due to the secretion of emergency hormones by the adrenal medulla. Question number 77. Which of the following is correct about seed dormancy? Impermeable and hard seed coat, the presence of chemical inhibitors such as abscisic acid, phenolic acid, para-ascorbic acid, and immature embryos are some of the reasons which cause seed dormancy. The effect of inhibitory substances can be removed by subjecting the seeds to chilling conditions or by application of certain chemicals like gibberellic acid and nitrates. So the answer for this question is option C. The presence of chemical inhibitors such as phenolic acids and para-ascorbic acid are internal factors that induce dormancy. So that is the correct state dormancy. Question number 78. Read the following statements about leaf. Which among them are correct? The leaf photosynthetic organ of the plant. It majorly consists of leaf base, petiole, and leaf lamina. Sometimes the swollen leaf base called pulvinus seen in leguminous plants. The leaf generally emerges from node of the stem where it forms an axil through which an axillary bud emerges. This axillary bud further develops into branch. The leaf lamina serves as the stage for harvesting light for photosynthesis. The shape of the leaf may vary from plant to plant. So the answer for this question is option B. From the following statements about leaf, statement 1, 2 and 3 are correct. So the correct option is B. Question number 79. DNA and RNA both are types of nucleic acids. Figure out the correct statement concerning DNA and RNA from below. Adenine and guanine are purines which have two ring structures, whereas thymine, uracil and cytosine or pyrimidines have single ring structures. The nucleotide of DNA and RNA are not same as the sugar molecule is different. Ribose in RNA and deoxyribose in DNA. So the answer for this question is option D. First, third and fourth statement only correct about DNA and RNA. Question number 80. Which of the following element is required in minor quantities for the growth of plants but is extremely important for growth of animals? Certain elements required in very small quantities are called microelements or trace elements. Sodium is one such element that is required in very small quantities and is not an important for growth of plants as it is for animals. So the answer for this question is option C, sodium. Question number 81. Vital capacity of the lung is sum of. Vital capacity is the maximum volume of air a person can breathe in after a forced expiration. This includes expiratory reserve volume,